Coming up on Xterra Adventures, we hit the waves at Waikiki Beach for a look at a rarely seen form of surfing. Each year at Hawaii's world-famous Waikiki Beach, the Duke's Ocean Fest hosts a wide variety of water events. One of the most visual and popular sports featured is tandem surfing. As a sport that combines style, grace, and strength, tandem surfing has been described as ice skating on water. It's a highly sophisticated form of wave riding that includes a man and a woman on a single surfboard performing a series of technical lifts.
A lot of people don't understand surf, but they understand snowboarding or snow skiing, and I compare that to snow, but except our snow is moving all the time. It's like running away from an avalanche and doing tricks at the same time with your partner, up in the air and negotiating every twists and turns like moguls that move all the time, so it's always, the variables is always there.
Thanks to a world tour and a contest like the Duke's Ocean Fest, tandem surfing is enjoying a revival. But while the sport is beautiful to watch, it requires teamwork and communication to pull off the highest scoring rides.
I enjoy just about every form of surfing that there is, and by far tandem surfing is the most difficult. The more difficult the lift, the higher the score. So of course the judges are looking for the higher scoring lifts, and only the people that are actually attempting those are the ones that are on the podium.
To me, holding a tandem move that's static is not as challenging as something that's dynamic and in motion. So for me, it's like, doing the helicopter is easy doing one, but when you start pulling off twos and threes, it's more dynamic, because you have a girl that's really dancing on the back of your back on a moving wave the whole time.
My biggest job is to stay tight in my body when I'm in position so that I feel more weightless to him, so the energy goes right through him into the board.
You need to have a good rhythm with your partner. Your partner needs to trust you. You have to communicate, because I'm looking at the wave, I'm looking where I need to turn and looking at the next section, and she's concentrating on the lift. So sometime I would have to make a command or a call that, not yet, wait, let me get around the section, or get into the lift before the section. So it's really tricky. You need to be together as a team. You need to stand up together, paddle together, communicate together, have a rhythm together. And practice to me is pretty important, but we love it. And people, when they watch tandem, it's a whole mind-blowing experience for people who haven't seen tandem before.
With the large surfboard and often unpredictable conditions, safety is always a top concern in tandem surfing, and it takes skill to minimize the sport's inherent dangers.
We're using a much bigger board. We have 2 people on the board. She's much higher than a normal surfer. She's, 6 to 8, maybe 10 foot up in the air. And some places we go over shallow reefs, and some waves are really hollow, so the risk factor is very high. So what I try to do is, if I feel something going wrong, I try to push her well away from the board, or I'll fall with her away from the board, because really good injury, falling on the board or falling on the reef. So there's a whole variety of things you got to look out for, but the risk factor is much higher than this normal surfing.
Be prepared for the unpredictable, and be really loose and kind of one with the ocean. So, on that level, every single guy that's out there and stuff, when you ask them what's in their head, they work out routines, and we all do, and stuff like that on land, so it becomes second nature. But when you get in the water, you just let it go, and be one with the ocean.
Duke Kahanamoku himself made tandem surfing popular in these very same Waikiki waves, and this Ocean Fest event is a fitting tribute for the man known as the ambassador of surfing and Hawaii's greatest waterman ever.
The Duke Fest embodies everything about Duke the man himself, about aloha, about the spirit of competition, but it's also about the spirit of friendship and love and being able to get along with your friends and pass along, you know, your talent and your abilities and show other people how to do what you do, because we've both taken so much enjoyment out of this sport that it just seems so normal and natural. We want to share it. So being in front of the people here, sharing it, I think that's exactly what Duke was all about. But I think he was a fierce competitor as well, so we get to mix both of those things. It's wonderful.
Sharing that fun, sharing that carefree, sharing that skill, sharing that knowledge. That's the greatest treasures that we have, and it's shared around the world. And Duke was our ambassador that shared the rest of the world because he was our Olympian. His legacy is existing all over the world.
Xterra Adventure